MyDoma Studio is your complete designer toolkit. You know this, right? MyDoma makes it easy to streamline your processes, track your projects, communicate with clients, and just get organized. It is created by designers for designers, specifically to address what you need as a design business owner. MyDoma is now together with Studio Designer, and they are the industry-leading solution. With 20,000 plus users, more designers choose their platform than any other. Are you ready to reach the next level of profitability and efficiency? Book a demo with MyDoma Studio today by going to mydomastudio.com/Luann. That's mydomastudio.com/Luann. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today's Overheard episode is about something we all want in business, more referrals, right? I mean, we all want a steady, consistent pipeline of clients that we love working with. So before I get started, let's talk about this elephant in the room. Over the last several months, I've talked to many business owners who are saying, oh, business is slow. This year it's up and down and blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. I'm going to tell you what, I literally have also talked to just as many designers and window treatment pros who are on track for their best year yet. If you're listening in the future, I'm talking about 2025. Some of the companies that are on track for their best year yet are WindowWorks, Exciting Windows, and Luann Nigara Inc. So what's the difference? The difference is a system-driven business does what it does in slow times and in good times. It sets goals and it chases them with intention and accountability. A system-driven business doesn't notice that business is slow and throw its hands up, blaming the economy or the man in the moon. The move is to dig in. The answer is to recommit. And when a business runs on data, it knows in time when and how to adjust, not waiting to the end of the year when it's too late. We've seen it ourselves, the ups and downs in lead flows and sales numbers. Yes, we're not immune, but because we track and assess this every month, we've been grinding it out, not waiting it out. So in this climate, what's the one thing you can always count on? Referral marketing. It works. It's low cost, it's high return, and it's built on relationships, which means it's always relevant no matter what the market is doing. But you need a system, you need a plan. And that brings me to today's conversation. I'm joined by three incredibly talented interior designers who each made the decision to take control of their pipeline, who saw real measurable growth after working with my friend and referral expert, Stacey Brown Randall. You already know Stacey Brown Randall from her several appearances on this podcast. She is also a co-author in my first volume of the Power Talk Friday Experts, and she has joined me as a speaker and a coach for Luann Live and multiple Power Talk Friday tour events. She has been featured in Forbes, Entrepreneur, Fox Business, and Business Daily News. Her first book, Generating Business Referrals Without Asking, is gold. And her brand new book, The Referred Business, just launched October 2025. Her methods are grounded in real human connection, not awkward asks or gimmicks. And today we're here to learn how these three interior designers have put her strategy into action in three different but equally powerful ways. So joining me today are Rebecca Robinson, certified kitchen and bath designer, current NKBA chapter president, and a returning guest to this podcast. With nearly 2 decades of experience, Rebecca took her already refined business and doubled her referrals from 18 to 40 a year by learning how to engage her best clients in ways that feel natural and relational. And you'll hear her tell us about it. Second, I have Darci Hether, also a returning guest, and she is the founder of a luxury interior design studio serving New York City, the Hamptons, and Westchester. Darci replaced scattershot networking with a clear strategic referral plan, starting with a single well-planned industry event that turned cold contacts into warm relationships and steady leads. Wait to hear her talk about that. And then we have Lacey Michalek, a Houston-based designer known for creating personality-driven homes that feel like art but function for real life. She stepped outside her comfort zone and discovered that saying yes to in-person opportunities, even a local mahjong game, could lead to real projects and real momentum. These are seasoned, successful designers who weren't waiting for business to pick up. They chose to take control, and they did it with intention. So if you're feeling stuck or unsure where your next client is coming from, I want you to lean in, because what you'll hear today isn't theory. It's tested. It's a repeatable strategy that you can start applying in your business today. I'm happy to introduce you to these lovely ladies. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today. I'm so happy to see your faces in this meeting with me.
Hi, Luann. It's Lacey.
Hey, Luann. It's Rebecca.
Hi, everybody. Hey, Luann. It's Darci Hether.
Hey guys. All right. So I'm so glad that you guys are here. Today we're going to talk about building that pipeline, right? How we make sure that we've got business coming in down the line. And I, interestingly, am aware that each of you have worked with my good friend, Stacey Brown Randall, and have done whatever capacity of coaching with her you've done. I haven't even gotten to those details, not relevant actually for me. I know that she's intersected with your world. She's impacted each of your worlds. And I know that building a consistent pipeline, core problem, right? Like core. You got to be kidding me. We've got to solve this problem for all of our lives, the beginning of our business, the middle of our business, the end of our business. And I love that each of you have invested in yourselves and your business to do this intentionally. And today we have Stacey's permission to share her wisdom and her nuggets that she has shared with you to help your colleagues out there. So I'm going to start with you, Rebecca, only because I love the core of your story where, you said that of Stacey for many years through the podcast, but there was a pivotal moment. So start with that, before and after moment, because I love that.
Okay. So I got to attend your Power Talk Friday last year in High Point Market. And she was one of your experts that was with us. And again, I have listened to her from your podcast, from your book. I've listened to her podcast. So I knew of her, but the individual coaching and her speaking at that event was like changing. Like everything was so much different. And even when we had a cocktail hour later that evening, it was like, wow, girl, you've been holding back. She just had so much more to give in person. It was amazing. She also gave us a book, one of her books or her new book at that event. And I mean, I read that thing twice, once to underline everything. And then again, I had to get my line of order of what I wanted to do. But yes, that's kind of how it started.
I love that. The thing about the Power Talk Friday tours, it is the opportunity to meet the experts that have been on the podcast for years and in the books in person. And there are often those types of aha revelations, right? It's like, I thought you were smart. I thought you were great, but this is, whoa, this is like on steroids, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Awesome. Okay. Now, when we take it from, each of you are going to share an area where you've improved your pipeline. And so, Lacey, I don't know the story yet, but you said that you have a story that's like about a mahjong game. So I'm very curious how a mahjong game impacted your pipeline.
Yeah. Okay. My friends are going to love this because at the time I did not know how to play mahjong and now we're like crazy about it. But I think with working with Stacey, it's about developing those referral sources. And I definitely needed more referral sources. And so that alone just kind of opened my eyes to like what's going on in my city, what are real estate agents doing, what are builders doing. And so it popped up in a local neighborhood group that a real estate agent was putting on a mahjong lesson. So my friend said, should we go? And I said, yeah, like, let's go. I can at least meet her. Right. And so we go to the lesson. And before I even, so we go, we stay, I leave. Before I even get to reach out to her, she reaches out to me, in fact, and is like, hey, I've been putting on these different presentations for people. Would you want to come put on a presentation for people?
Oh.
So of course my initial is like, well, no, I don't, I don't want to public speak. Are you crazy? I just wanted to like go to coffee. But I did in fact do the presentation for her. I think it was during a World Series game for the Astros. So it was not a huge turnout. It was maybe 8 people, maybe 10 people, but I ended up getting a client from that presentation, which was not my intention. It was really just, let me do something for this agent so that she feels like I have something to offer her and maybe she'll want to refer me. So I did end up getting a kitchen renovation and 2 full room project out of someone there who's a lovely, amazing client. The real estate agent has also referred me people. And then we just worked on a project for her specifically in her home.
Nice.
So it was just like, and I even talked to her the other day about it. Cause we're friendly now and she's just a cool person to talk to and hang with. And I just said, like, you wouldn't believe what came out of just that one, mahjong game that turned into a presentation, all of that. And Stacey was really with me, kind of coaching me on like, what should my presentation be about? How do I follow up with the people who attended the presentation? How do I follow up with this real estate agent that never feels salesy? Because that was my big thing. And I'm sure Rebecca and Darci, you guys know this too, of the follow up and the not wanting to be salesy. And so just turning up to an event like that felt in alignment with something I would normally do. So it felt authentic.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So I'm going to come back and pick that apart.
Yeah.
But I'm going to move to Darci for a second. And then I have questions about, what was the presentation about?
Sure.
What was the key points? Because I know every designer listening is thinking, I don't really want to be a public speaker either. So what did you put together? So be thinking about that. Okay. And then how did you do the follow-up that's not salesy? So I'm going to come back to those 2 questions.
Okay.
Darci, your goal, I know and understand, was you're obviously a designer here in New York City. Thank you for using WindowWorks for your window treatments. Love that about you. Appreciate that about you. But your goal was, any new referrals I can get from existing clients, yay. But you had a very specific goal of wanting to build the referral base of architects, contractors, and realtors, more professional peer-to-peer referrals than worrying about trying to find client peer-to-peer referrals. So talk to us about why that for you and some of the outline of how that happened.
Sure. So I think the why is part of it's because I think I mentioned this off air. We've done a lot of pied-à-terres, which is great. We've done, so people from out of state, a lot of people from out of country have hired us to do their pied-à-terre. So they don't live here and they're not necessarily referring us to their friends and family because their friends and family might not have a pied-à-terre in the city. So it was really important for me to look at another outside of out of our existing clientele of how we can get in front of people that are going to then refer us. And I really wanted to have a connection with a couple really key real estate people or my contractors, even AV specialists. That's another field that just seems to be, that there's a lot of intimate involvement with a client in their building up their house. So that was really important for me. And Stacey kept reminding me, it is a longer game than saying somebody that you are familiar with that it's going to be a client that has been using your services and has experienced it firsthand. So there was a lot of patience that she, she was instilling in me, like, you're not going to have one coffee and think that this is going to be, I mean, it sounds like Lacey had that experience, which is awesome. we should all have that.
There's always the exception, right? There's always the exception.
I mean, it's not to say that it doesn't happen, but it tends to be like that's a longer game where you're building out this relationship, especially if you don't really know this person or they don't really know you. So that was how.
It's starting cold rather than warm, right?
Exactly.
It's starting cold.
And then just building, it is really a relationship and just how you're building that out, and also just being top of mind or, in their orbit when they're thinking about referring out a designer or having that person in their back pocket.
Hey, before we get to the show, I want to do a quick shout out and a thank you to Kravet Inc. for sponsoring the podcast. I want you to know that it's time to discover luxury for less with Kravet Furniture's popular upholstery trio, the Jazz, Porter, and Taylor. Now, with improved pricing and faster production times, these stylish frames are available with a 6-week turnaround. Can you imagine furniture in 6 weeks? Kravet's exceptional service combined with great pricing makes them the perfect choice for your next interior design project. Go to kravet.com to learn more and sign up for your design trade account today. Right. Okay. And so what I'm going to ask you to think about, because I'm going to come back to you in a second on, is some of those tactics or strategies that you ended up using to take cold people to warm, right? Like, it's very different if you are going to go to like our Window Works, whenever we're, partway through a month and sales aren't looking at like they're going to hit projection at the sales meeting. I'm like, we're going to our client base, folks. We're going to the people that know us. This isn't the time to run an ad, in a magazine and get strangers. This is, we've got 10 days to bring the numbers in. So call your past clients, call the people that you gave a quote to 3 months ago that didn't order. Like, go dig the money up out of your existing base, because that's where you're going to get it. So when I come back to you, I'm going to ask you some of those tactics for that long tail strategy that you use, that because listen, I know you're a seasoned designer. I I met you 9 years ago and you were already in business. How many years, right? So what I'm going to ask you, what was different that you learned that worked? Okay. And now, Rebecca, back to you. So you expressed to me that you were at the Power Talk Friday. You were concerned about your pipeline. You were very concerned about the business. By December, you ended up laying off your team because it was that crazy. But then January, you hired Stacey, and the stats that you shared with me were that for the 3 previous years, 23, 24, 23, and 22, you averaged 18 referrals a year.
Yes.
And in the first quarter with working with Stacey, you passed that. And at year to date this year in 25, you're at 40 already.
Yes.
So that's significant. So walk me through, what was your hot? Because again, I also know you 9 or 10 years, and you were in business years before that. You're not a hot minute doing this either. You're seasoned. What was the difference? What was the thing that she helped you do that was different that resulted this way?
Yes. So I would say the way she helped me focus on the type of different referral sources was different. So again, being in business for now 19 years, I know how to call on builders, and I'm not shy, and I know my industry trades, and I feel good about those relationships, and even cold calling, meeting new builders, all of that was great. So that was still part of my referral, process for the year. But what was different was how to care for past clients, and actual, she calls it the referral language. And the language is so important. What she teaches and how we plant these seeds are really important. But right away, it was kind of like, hey, take your favorite clients and take your clients that maybe it was, take the things you loved about the project, whether it was profitability or it was a fun project or you liked the actual client, like all of those things, and go to those people. And what she had me do, it was so cool. It was like asking them, and the actual language, I don't know for, exact language, but it was asking them like, hey, do me a favor. And it was just a simple question. Like, if you were to refer me to another friend, family member, what would you say? I think it was as simple as that. It was so cool. And I was like, okay, so I did this. And she said, but what you're going to do is with each person that answers you, no matter what they say, you're going to write them a handwritten note, and it's going to say, you're going to almost reply back to them what they said great about you. And because it's that dopamine that they get, then they get that thank you that they, would refer you in this way. And that's the kind of feeling they should have when they actually refer you. But yeah, I think that right there started kind of a trickle of my past clients starting, sending me some new leads.
I don't know about Lacey and Darci. Like, literally, I'm sure you probably were taught this also by Stacey, but at face value, doesn't it just sound like you're kidding me?
Right.
Like this simple thing. I'm in business 19 years. This simple thing, right?
Right.
But what I love about it is, I love that it's simple. Let's just say that.
Yes.
I love that. It's not like, okay, I got to do, 90 push-ups and I could do my power pose and I got to yes, I can do this. It's like, just do it. Like you're talking about your best clients, right?
Yeah.
And I will tell you, it is intimidating to call a client that you haven't talked to in a few weeks or months or whatever it might be and say, would you help me out a second?
Mm-hmm.
If you were ever to refer me, what would you say? Right? Like it feels funny. I know that moment, but I've done it. And what I know is I've never, ever done it and heard crickets. I've never done it where the other person was like, why would you ask me that? Like, you know who you're calling. You're calling the people that it's going to be okay with. We're not asking you to call the one that you're not sure what they're going to say, right? And so, but this part 2, that's the gold, right? The part 2 is you're like literally creating a scientific reaction in them. I feel good when I read this thing that I said. I want to say it again and feel good again.
That's the key right there, Luann, is like, it's almost like she just said, go to the Jordan River and wash off your sins. And I was like, that's so easy, but no, it actually worked. It got people excited, and it doesn't matter if you put out a newsletter. It doesn't matter. It's a leg of your business. Sure. Yes. But that really put me to the top of some of my favorite people's minds. It was great.
And here you are, 40 referrals year to date. We're talking August 5th or whatever it is on the conversation day.
And I was able to get one of my team members back. So we're doing great.
Nice. Very nice. I love that. Good for you. Yeah. It's especially when you can get back the good ones that you had to let go, right? Yeah. Like that was us with Kim. We had to let her go in 2008 and I was like crying, but then in 2010, we got her back. We were like, yay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. So, okay. So I love that. All right. Love. It's simple strategy. We could all do this today. We can make 3 phone calls today, write 3 thank you letters today. We could do 3 tomorrow, 3 the next day, and we can just start to build this thing. And to your point, you saw a literal immediate return on that investment of time in just 1 quarter. Yeah. I love it. Okay. So Lace, talk to me about, let's do the presentation thing first. Talk to me about it's one thing if this is your wheelhouse, but you sounded like you really weren't sure what you would do a presentation about. You didn't really, wouldn't have been the thing you woke up in the morning, said, can't wait to do it. So what was your presentation and how did you get past the hurdle of this is worthwhile talking about?
Right. I think it was I knew I had to do it. It fell right into my lap, right? And then I had Stacey, who was super supportive. For me, I struggle with accountability a little bit. So she was absolutely that accountability coach for me too. Even something as simple as writing a thank you card. I mean, I have to put that on my calendar, write the thank you card, get the stamp, mail it. I mean, it can be tough. So yeah, my initial reaction was oh, okay, I'm really gonna have to put myself out there. But the presentation was about, I think we did it about where can you invest in your home and where can you save without it feeling like DIY. I think we're all luxury interior designers here, and this was in a luxury neighborhood for sure. But to your point, Luann, you definitely have people there who are going to take that information. We talked about what types of sofas to buy, what fills to look for, things like that someone might be like, oh, that's great information. I'm going to go buy that sofa. And then you have the other people that are going to say, wow, she really knows what she's talking about. I'm going to have her do that for me.
Yeah,
you know?
Mhm.
So that's exactly what it was like. And I think I knew once I got going, that it was going to be fine and it was going to flow. And I knew what I was talking about. So it was good. And yes, I had Stacey looked over the presentation for me. So I felt ready.
In the details of where should you invest and where can you save, were you talking about like big picture, like it's always worth updating your kitchen, that will always make more money? Or were you in micro version of, if this is important to you, then invest in a sofa. If this is not important to you, then, get it from a box store? Like, where were
Yeah.
you in invest and save? How did you structure the conversation?
So for me, it was more micro. I, within my business, I specialize more in like the furniture, art, decor. Like that's what I enjoy doing the most, rather than
Okay.
kitchen remodels and things like that. We do them, but it's, I like to have the textiles and all of that with it. So I chose to focus more on that, like original art, like investing in that, but then also having those caveats of like, if you're on vacation, you take a beautiful photograph and you want to frame it. So it was a lot of like just giving out information of like how you can make things, investing in things and not investing in things just work for your home. So yeah, it was a little more micro.
It sounds like to me, if I was going to generalize it so that somebody could visualize doing it for themselves,
Yeah.
you tell me if this is on the right track or not. It sounds like to me, if you're an interior designer and you are faced with looking at a client who has signed on to work with you, and maybe they've said, I have $100,000 budget for this living room. That is a high-low conversation all the way through that specification process, right? It's like, we're going to put more money here. We're going to put less money here. We're going to make a statement here. We're going to pull it back here. You've got 3 kids, so we're not going to spend 25,000 of that 100K on a rug that needs special care. Like, so if I'm visualizing how to map that conversation out in my head, it's similar to that process, the way you would really do it if you were educating a particular client on the best place to spend their 50 or 100 or 75,000 in a specific area. Is that on the path, Lacey?
I think that's exactly right. Because it's coming back to me now. We talked about rugs and, the wool rugs versus silk versus polypropylene, all of those things. So absolutely investing in the right fabrics for your upholstery. So absolutely that would be a same conversation I would have with a client. So it was pretty enlightening, I think, for them.
Yeah. No, I see. I like, not a designer, adjacent business for 40 plus years. In my brain, I was like, yeah, that's kind of the conversation every designer probably has. I don't care if your budget is 500,000 for the living room.
Right.
There's still high-low conversations. Everything can't be $100,000 in a $500,000 room. Right. You can't have a $100,000 chandelier and a $100,000 rug and a $100,000 sofa and a $100,000, I don't know, window treatment project. Like you're done. So, okay. I love that. That seems manageable and doable. Now, the follow-up to that was, what and how did you follow up from that event so that you could start those relationships and collaborations with the people at the event that you didn't feel salesy doing? Because none of us wants to feel salesy.
Right. I think it was adding them at the time. It was adding them into a newsletter. If they just wanted more information from us, some of them had friended us on like Instagram, followed us on Instagram. So, saying thank you in the DMs, things like that, just making them feel like seen and really thanking them for being there. Like I said, it was a small group, so it was pretty intimate. So I got to talk to everyone after, which was really nice. So sending a nice thank you email. I didn't do the handwritten thank yous with that, amount of people, or with those. I don't think I had their addresses, honestly.
Okay.
So I think that's where email, but that's where I had Stacey to be like, this is what you can do. This is what you would say. And then of course I had the one person who came, who then did reach out for a consultation and all of those next steps.
Okay. So I love all this, Lace. I love the idea of, having some sort of concept, and somebody else might want to do a different type of a topic. Somebody might do, like Rebecca, I know you're a kitchen specialist. So you might be, the high and low in just a kitchen, where to spend your money and how not to spend your money so that you're not wasting it. Right. If you're planning to move or planning to stay forever. So, but it's like, the idea is to just, I think the core advice of how you were able to get through that, Lace, is more than you realize, right? And you just got to go to, what is it that I know? I when I wrote my first book, that's exactly, I kept saying, and I was in a circle. So I was like, girl, you know
Right.
how to do this. You know how to run a business. Just sit and think about it and break it down and just do it. And so it's funny how we have to give
Mhm.
ourselves that little moment of, oh, yeah, I know what I'm talking
Yeah, I'm
about.
qualified. I can
Yeah,
talk about this.
exactly. I've been doing this a
Yeah,
few years.
right.
So, okay. All right, Darce. Now, take me from cold lead to warm lead. Like, what was that initial process? Because again, I don't know how many years you're in business at this point. I know it's not a minute. So, you probably had some idea for how to reach out to architects and builders. What was the aha change difference for you? And what have you specifically done that's resulted in, nurturing these contacts with these people?
Um, it it took a minute for us to really put. I was putting my thinking cap on of. I had a kind of like a short list of architects that I've worked, like I work with, or I would like to work with. Same thing for builders, same thing for real estate agents, and over the years, I've gotten together with them for a coffee. It might be maybe one or two a year. It's been very sporadic. There wasn't so much of a kind of like for lack of a better word, a schedule, or even a just an
No results
ongoing, no
behind it,
results
right?
behind
No
it. I mean, it
results.
was
It's
like,
like, you know me, I know
yeah,
you, but it's not doing the next step,
right.
right?
And
Yeah.
so we kind of put our heads together and we're brainstorming with Stacey, and we ended up coming, and my team and I, ended up coming up with we hosted an industry mix and mingle. And the idea for me was, I know all these people individually. They don't know each other, and some of them are even in the same field. It's okay, because just like us designers, somebody's going to call me and they're going to jive with me and not somebody else, and vice versa, and that's all okay, right? It's all okay. We all have enough to go around, what have you. So we actually partnered with one of our vendors who has a showroom, because at the time my studio wasn't set up to host. I think there was about 15, 18 people that were invited. Now I have the space, but at that time we didn't have the space to host it. So we hosted it at a showroom, and it was amazing. There was a couple designers that I invited. There was a handful, I don't know, 3 or 4 architects. There were, I think, 3 different AV companies. There was 3 or 4, 5 real estate agents, and a couple of builders. And then one of the gals that was on my staff was, she brought a nice camera, and she was taking photos of, people chatting, and I was talking and everything. And it was really just, I gave a little 5-minute talk of like, hey, we're all here. We're all in this industry. I think, what's the saying? All ships rise, whatever.
Yep.
And I just
Rising
was like,
tide takes all
yeah.
ships.
And I just thought, we're like, every single one of the people that was in that room, I think they're at the top of their game. And so I just feel like, and we're all serving each other we're all serving each other well. If I'm working with a great AV person, and I'm working with a great contractor, and hey, the real estate agent maybe has sold that apartment or is going to sell that apartment. So they're all interconnected. And what was really amazing for me is standing back and seeing these people in the room connecting with each other, and the amount of emails that we got the couple of days after. Hey, I talked to that one guy. I think his name was, whatever. Can you get me in contact with him again? Because I couldn't see it. And so that I thought was really amazing, that we were helping to also facilitate. But one thing that Stacey really helped us with was the mindset going into it. What do you want to have come out of this party, essentially, is what we were throwing. How are you going to introduce people? What is it that you're hoping to take away? And then the brilliance of, I would have never thought to take photos other than to take a couple pictures I posted on Instagram, like, hey, look at me, look what we're doing, whatever. No, it was more thoughtful of, hey, Joe, remember we caught this photo of you talking to Sam. You guys look like you were having a great time. Hope, we can't wait to do another industry event someday, in a few months, whatever the case may be. And so we sent out individual emails to everybody that attended, and we included photos of that person with somebody else. And then we also did, excuse me, before we all split for the night, we did have somebody take a group photo of everybody that attended. So there was the group photo, and then there was a couple of, kind of gotcha photos, if you will, of that person talking to multiple people. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun the next day. I mean, I think like half the work day was just looking at photos going, oh my God, look how they were connecting. I forgot about that or what have you. So that was really amazing. And since then, that was almost a year ago, several of the people that were in attendance have reached out. Oh yeah, because oh, that's right. I met so-and-so because of you. We're in contact. We're actually doing some work together. So it's just, again, it's not just for me. I mean, that I was
right.
one we facilitated it, but I think that it's just, again, staying top of mind just through almost, separation.
I love it. Well, and you know what I heard in there is when you said that you were taking specific photos and then the next couple of days, emailing specific photos of the individual to them. Rebecca, I'm like, there's that dopamine hit again. It's like, bang, dopamine. Oh, look at that. That was a great time. I had a good time at that party. That was fun, right? Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah. So this is Rebecca. I heard we should take pictures of people at events and be like, hey, saw you at this event. I'm just kidding. have a strategy. I'm just, but that's
no, I mean,
it's so cool.
What's funny is I've done probably 40 lunch and learns at WindowWorks, maybe 50 if I count them up. That's a piece that I think is we always take pictures, but then we just post it on our own social.
Yeah.
Right. But I love that little nudge. It's like yes, I ask you, why did you use me? why would you refer me? But the secondary, the thank you, repeating that is intention. And it is anchoring that past customer, that past client to, oh yeah, this is what I think about Rebecca. Right. Go ahead, Darce.
I was going to follow up with that because I think Rebecca alluded to it earlier. One of Stacey's many superpowers is her wordsmithing, and to how to like wiggle in this language of the referral. So when we did send that follow-up email to those people, there was wording, and I don't remember what it was because it was a year ago, but there was referral language in that without saying, hey, don't forget to refer me to your next client.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, look, it's funny because the coaching clients that I work, chairman of the board, they just heard you say wordsmithing. This is the secret sauce. Well, I don't care what it is. If I got to dress, if I'm helping a designer dress a client down and get them back in a lane, or we're trying to nudge a client along because they're dragging their feet, doing whatever, it is the wordsmithing. And what's so funny is Mariali, my EA, if she's listening, literally Voxers on the daily. Okay. I'm like, Mariali, this is verbatim. And I know it sounds ridiculous that I'm inserting this here, but this is the why I'm inserting it. And then other times I'm like, you know where I'm going, you know what I'm thinking, just word it, you've got it, right? And so there is wordsmithing that happens when you are intentionally trying to create a reaction. And Darce, you mentioned, that at the beginning of it, it's like, what is the goal of this industry event? And I'm sure, Lacey, you had the same thing. It's like, what is the goal of this going to this mahjong thing? Mm-hmm. I guarantee you the goal wasn't, I'm going to be a champion mahjong player. It's like, right. If I learn some mahjong, great. And if I don't, the real goal is this, Right. So just crazy stuff. Okay. So I just first of all, the intentionality, that's what I'm hearing of all of this. You're all seasoned business owners. You've all been there grinding out pipeline and doing different things. And I love that at a experienced level of business that not only did you invest in yourselves to make your businesses better, but you learned things that, just resulted in, oh, yeah, there's always a new way to look at something and a new way to do something. What I'm curious is the going forward. Mm-hmm. So Rebecca, we've got 40 referrals this year that we didn't have in any year previous, right? And what is the tactic going forward? Like, look, all I have to do is keep doing this every year in January, or did 40 referrals result in 40 projects, or 40 referrals resulted in 30? What's the going forward for you?
Sure. So I think what's great about Stacey is that it's all relational, right? So like, it's not just, oh, I'm just going to put it in my calendar and I'm just going to check off this list. And that's the way I used to think about referral marketing is, and then all the other things that we had to unlearn, right? But relational in that I can't just take these good referral sources and just to check it off and like just put them on the calendar. It's also about being intentional about learning a lot about them and building on that relationship. So, leaving every appointment, whether it's a coffee meetup or a client meeting, and I am furiously writing notes about like what I learned about them, even if it was like my kid plays soccer or da-da-da, because then the next time I plan a meeting with them, and again, I have them on my calendar or a touch point, and maybe it's a picture now. Thank you, Darci. But the picture that I take with my client at the showroom, I don't know. But whatever that touch point is, it's infusing that relationship that Stacey has taught us to really cultivate more. I feel like that is the going forward. And to be honest with you, I'm happier as a business owner now than I have been before, because I'm like starting to be really good friends with my clients. And I don't feel like in the years past, I thought if I'm friends with them, they're going to call me on the weekends and it's going to, no, yes. I mean, when you're really connecting with people on a deeper level, and I don't mean just clients, whether it's the builder referral sources or client referral sources, when you're connecting on them in a different level and you're learning and building on that relationship, I feel like it feels more natural and it feels easier to do more touch points throughout the year that you have scheduled. So it's not just a check off, it's like starting to build more relationships, if that makes some sense.
It makes perfect sense. I love it. So it's the basic thing is it's something that you do intentionally every month now.
Yes.
And the more you do it, what I'm hearing is the easier it is to do.
Right.
And the more normal it feels to do. And it just keeps it keeps deepening the relationship. Right.
Right. And it's not, the cadence doesn't have to be every month for every person, but throughout you're still you're actively, so the plan going forward is not just like, let's hope it works out and every quarter I'll do X, Y, Z. No, it's like every month I've got certain people to follow back up with or a touch point. So yeah.
Very good. I love it. I love it. Lace, how about you? What's the going forward for you?
Yeah, I think, before I started on this referral marketing, I think a lot of things were done online, right? Like I had invested in Instagram stuff. And so this was a big shift. And for me, it felt like there was so much more momentum behind it. Like just putting yourself out there to go meet someone for coffee, or Darci, like putting an event together or going to do that. Like it shifts something around you that I think newsletters and Instagram cannot do. Like you can schedule your post for a month. That's great. It's getting out there, but there is something very different about putting yourself out there in the world. And I do think it just like, all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I just ran into a builder at a lighting store that I hadn't seen in 10 years, just things like that. So I think for me, it's continuing that momentum of putting yourself out there and not kind of getting like back into the routine of like, let me post, let me do this. Oh, I don't really want to go have coffee this month. Like just making yourself do it. And like you said, Rebecca, those personal connections, like they get stronger, and like people want to help you. People want, like you help them, they want to help you. So it's just continuing getting in front of people and building those relationships for sure.
I love it. So just keep flexing the muscle of going in public and doing it in your way in the places that are comfortable for you, but not falling back into the habits of, being in your own box.
I think
right?
so. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that, Lace. Good for you. And Darce, how about you? What does it look like going forward? Is the industry mixer going to be a yearly thing? Is it not necessary?
That's the that's the intention. Okay. We had so much fun. A lot of those people so that was, I think it was last September. And we had a holiday party, and I think 90% of the people showed up.
Oh, so you've already gathered
them
again.
We had other people. So Good. It was, so definitely wanting to keep that going. I think the other thing that Stacey really just drove home was, she gives a very clear runway or outline of that year. I never had that before. I know that, we always did something every Thanksgiving for our clients. We did something every New Year's for clients and industry partners, like a card that went out. But outside of that, I couldn't say that there was anything that was more like there was a structure, a method to our madness, let's say. It was just kind of willy-nilly throwing spaghetti at the wall. And now I feel like there's a definite, structure in terms of, and sometimes does it move, we're really, really busy this month. And this thing that I really wanted to do is going to, yes, that we have a little bit of flex in there, but I have a roadmap of, where I want to go, how I want to connect. And, to both Rebecca and Lacey, I think it is really about the connection, and it has made the biggest difference in the world to not just say, hey, you want to have coffee, but there's now, personality to it, as opposed to it just saying, like I'm checking off a box. And I had to laugh because Rebecca said, the unlearning of things. And for a while I had this, it was like pre-Stacey Brown Randall. It was like this, well, pre-Stacey Brown Randall, I would have said this, but now,
yeah.
So, we would be on a coaching call with her, and I would say, well, pre-Stacey Brown Randall, and I would do this. And it was always her whole name.
I know.
Too. It wasn't just
I was
Stacey
Brown Randall too. Isn't that the funniest thing? It's only been 10 years.
Yeah. So everything was it's like world before and world after. So it's definitely.
I love it. I love it. That's great. And it's so funny because when you mentioned that first mix and mingle you had, that you didn't have the space to have it. If I've said it on the podcast a dozen times in the 9.5 years, I've said, WindowWorks has their own lunch and learns, and we invite designers. But I've said before, I got to tell you, if you don't have a space, go to your kitchen place, go to your window treatment place, go to your tile place. Like, and they're all, and literally designers have said to me in person, on the podcast, whatever, oh, I don't know, I would feel funny. And I'm like, okay, so here's the scenario. You're an interior designer. I own a window treatment company, and you say to me, I'd like to bring, 10 realtors, 5 designers, and 10 builders into your building. Will you give us bagel and coffee? Yeah, I will. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hard yes, easy yes, I mean to say, right?
Yeah.
I do have to say, I thank you so much for saying that, Luann, because I do feel like a lot of it, we have to get out of our own head. I know for me, it was, oh my God. And I mean, honestly, what's the worst they're going to say?
That's right.
No,
it's always a no if you don't ask. It's always a no if you don't ask. But my thing is, when I don't own WindowWorks anymore. You guys know that I sold it to my daughter and my son-in-law, right? But we still wake up every day and we're like, how can we find more designers? How can we find more builders? How can we find more AV people? How can we find more architects? We need the same clients. And if you're going to walk through 5 through my front door, it was so funny because at EW, one of the members said to me, oh my God, this is a couple of years ago. Oh, I had a lunch and learn and only 5 designers came. And I'm like, that's 5 potential new repeat clients. Like a designer isn't a one sale. A designer is a sale every month. This first lunch and learn we did at WindowWorks back in 2017 or 18, there were 7 designers. And I remember the team going, oh, and I'm like, guys, this is 7 people that stop their business, that walk through our front door, that you get to say hello to, make a connection with, let them understand who you are, why you are, what you do. This is not this is whoa. You know what I mean? It's like I said, if you walked into the ShopRite, the grocery store, and you looked over and there were 7 designers gathered, we'd be like, well, that's not 30 designers. I'm going to keep walking. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah. So this is Rebecca. I would say, so I've been serving in KBA for ever, probably 8 years by now. And every time we have an event, almost every month, but every time we have it, if there's a short amount of people, like you were saying, 8 people, I think you were talking about, what I feel like is it's a blessing because you can actually talk to those people more,
Yep.
And so I feel like it happens exactly the way it's supposed to. So don't freak out when you have an event and there's just limited people, because I think you can make deeper connections in those smaller meetings.
Agreed. Lace, you have something to
Yeah,
add?
this is Lacey. I totally agree. I mean, that was one of the things I was nervous about with my presentation. And speaking to something Darci said earlier, like that is not the norm. I feel like that was crazy, kind of what spiraled out of that. But it does make you think, okay, how can I like rinse and repeat this maybe for a different agent or builder or something? But yeah, I think the smaller amount of people, like I only needed one client out of that.
right.
You know, with what we do, I don't need 50 clients to make my year. I only need a few clients a year. So, so yeah, the smaller is not always a bad thing for sure.
No, it definitely isn't.
Right.
I've had Power Talk Fridays where we've had 6 people and Power Talk Fridays with 24 people. It's meant to be the way it's supposed to be, and the things happen the way they're supposed to happen, as long as you're looking at the glass half full and actually seeing what opportunity is there, as opposed to whining about what opportunity isn't there that you thought was supposed to be there.
Right.
The story in your head, right? Oh my goodness. Well, I am so thrilled for each of you ladies. I love especially that you're seasoned designers that have really tapped into a new way to keep your pipeline healthy, because this is the thing. Everybody says everywhere I go, how do I keep my pipeline going? So I love that you're doing this. Of course, we'll put the episode notes in the links, in the show notes for Stacey's previous episodes. Darci, you've been on the podcast. We're going to put that in the links. Rebecca, have you been on the podcast?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you had too, right?
2020, so it was kind of a blur.
Yeah. And I'm like, the whole time I'm like, no.
We talked about jail.
Okay.
I'll just leave that. I'll leave that in there so people can go back and listen.
Right. Okay. You know what it is? Somebody that I see often in real life, I'm like confusing. Like, oh, how do you know what I mean?
I don't know why.
Yeah. Anyway, you're my savior at KBiz, trying to help me find aisles and stuff. Anyway,
I got you.
All right, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate all of you.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Luann.
Bye.
The more I think about what Rebecca, Darci, and Lacey shared today, the more I'm struck by how they've completely shifted their approach to referral marketing. And more than that, I'm struck by how much happier and confident they are as business owners because of this, right? You heard Rebecca talk about how this isn't about checking a box on the calendar anymore. It's relational. It's meaningful. And here's the specific strategy that changed everything for her. She asked her favorite clients a simple question. If you were to refer me to a friend, what would you say? And then Rebecca took those exact words and mailed them back in a handwritten note. That little dopamine hit of seeing her own praise reflected back made those clients even more likely to say those same words again when the opportunity came up. But it didn't stop there. Rebecca takes notes after every coffee date, every site meeting, every conversation, remembering birthdays, hobbies, kids who play soccer, because that's what builds real relationships. Going from 18 to 40 referrals in 1 year, that's not luck. It happened because she created a system of intentional, meaningful connection taught to her by Stacey. And then Lacey brought up something also important. The momentum that comes from putting yourself out there in the real world where the other humans are, right? Yes, Instagram has its place, but scheduling posts can't replace the magic of real life interaction, smiles, laughs, all the things. She went to a mahjong game, and that turned into a presentation. And that presentation, refined and encouraged by Stacey, led to a kitchen renovation, 2 full room projects, and an ongoing referral partnership with a real estate agent. One event, real results. And Darci, she described her transformation from throwing spaghetti at the wall to building a calendar and a system that she could follow. Instead of random coffee dates, she hosted a targeted industry event with builders, architects, and realtors. But the magic was in the follow-up. Personalized photos from the event, thoughtful notes, and ongoing check-ins. Now Darci isn't just in the room, she's the connector in the room, right? That's a different point of view. You're looked at differently, right? Each of these designers started with the same thing, a strong desire to build a more reliable business pipeline. And they paired that with clear strategies, intentional planning, and here's the kicker, the willingness to do the work. Not just learn it and leave it in a notebook, not just learn it, hear it, and do nothing. They did the work, no matter how uncomfortable or weird it felt to do it in the beginning. New things are hard, but like we say to our kids, you can do hard things, right? That's the part I don't want you to miss. These results didn't come from fancy funnels or expensive marketing. They came from clarity, consistency, and care. They came from writing notes, showing up, following through, investing in the relationships. Not just when business is booming, by the way, but all the time, right? And that's the takeaway here. If you're telling yourself business is slow, maybe the question isn't what's happening out there that you should be asking. Maybe it's what can I be doing in here, in my business, in my calendar, inside my referral system. You can do it. Start with one task, one follow-up, one coffee, one handwritten note. So if this conversation lit a fire under you, don't stop there. Dig into Stacey's work, her podcast, her books, and her Power Talk Friday episodes, including number 69, number 93, and number 885. Yeah, we go all the way back to the first year, me and Stacey. You'll also find links to both of Darci and Rebecca's previous episodes here on the podcast. Those conversations are rich with insight into how their businesses have evolved over the years. And don't forget to grab your free checklist at luannniagara.com/goodies, right? Because we made a little checklist of what these ladies have done so that you have a little reminder and a tiny little roadmap, right? I definitely want you to get Stacey's books, but if you just have to have something to put in front of you to just keep you on a little bit of a track, I want you to do that. All right. So that's luannniagara.com/goodies. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. Thank you, Stacey, for being such a positive force in our industry, for just being a light and a shining lighting, letting us know we can be us, and that can be enough to keep our business going with momentum, right? And thank you for showing up. I hope you learned something today. I hope more than that you put it into action. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of Luann Niagara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or Luann University, go to luannniagara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to windowworksnj.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.